Hi, I'm Tom. This is my wife Tanya, and we'd just like to tell you a little bit about our Belize trip that we took this summer. One of the things for me on missions trip, I live very distracted in my day-to-day, too much, I would say, between my responsibilities of family and work, ministry, and taking care of the house. And one of the best things for me about going on missions trips is that time is specifically set aside and dedicated to love people, to love others, to love the team around me, and to love the people that we come in contact with. I feel so free to be able to do that. And I know I'm called in my day-to-day to love people, and I do try. And some days I succeed well, and some days I don't. But again, when the time is set apart specifically for that goal, for me, it makes it easier. I'm not saying it should be that way, but going on missions is in that sense for me is really neat. And I know God is using me in those times. In the day-to-day times, sometimes that's hard to see. But like in Belize, when you smile at one of the kids, or you give them a hug, or you give them a piggyback ride, or you play a quick game of soccer, or you sit and you draw with them, or you serve them a meal. Being the hands and feet and the tangible touch of the love of Christ, is good. It's good. And again, we do it. We are called to do that in our day-to-day, and that's good too, right where we are. But just seeing God work too through the trips. We saw God work in getting us to Belize. Five of us went from our family, 3 of our daughters as well. And we wouldn't have been able to go without God's provision through his people, through the church, through our friends and family, through acquaintances, through co-workers. It would have been financially very, very difficult, if not impossible, for us to go. So seeing God's providing in that piece of it in the beginning, and even the call for all of us, the story of how our hearts were shifted and moved to go on the trip from different ideas and of missions trips for the summer was also a beautiful thing, to see God orchestrate and put together. And while we were there, one of the biggest things that we saw was the unity of the team in the spirit. There was different times, different occasions as we're at homes praying for family members of the kids that would attend the care points, that different people had the same ideas in what needed to be prayed for or what called forth from a person, just because of the unity in the spirit. And that's another beautiful thing about being on missions together with a team. It's just when you're there united for a common purpose, and everyone knows you're there to love these people, to love each other. God he strengthens that, and he utilizes that for such good. He provided words, and we've seen his provision in our daughters and in them stepping forward out of fear and into faith to pray and to speak. And that, the impact on us in that way is just, we were so blessed to be there. There was one trip we were taken through the place called London Bridge. This is towards the end of the serving part of our trip, and and we're walking on, it just starts on pallets, like these wood pallets over marsh, swampy area. And then the further back we went, the more narrow and rickety the boards got. And if you step off of this, I don't know how deep the marshy stuff is, you're gonna be in trouble, uncomfortable. You know, you could step the wrong place of a board and it could break, or you could lose your balance because they're not stable. And on this walk, you know, I've never experienced a place like this. There is, you know, human excrement, animal excrement that we had to avoid going back there. And at one point I was like, God, what are we doing here? Why do I have my family walking here? And it's not like a physical, like threat of life danger, but it's danger of just, I don't know how to explain it. And it's like, if we're doing this, there is a purpose at the end of it. And that was one of our most beautiful experiences, because we saw transformation in the countenance of this woman that was being prayed for. Broken because of just what's going on in her life at this time. And the group in unity is gathered around her, praying for her. And she turns, and then she is, when it's done, is prophesying and blessing members of the group. And it's like, only God can do this. And it was such a beautiful thing. But seeing the smiles on the kids, you know, again, when we encountered them, when we would hug them, or, you know, whatever act we were doing, piggyback rides, serving them food, a smile, you know, is more blessed to give than to receive. But we received a lot in the giving there. So I believe that's how the Lord works, when you are giving for Him.
Yeah, the trip was beautiful. For me, it was my first missions trip, and getting ready to, it was my second mission trip. Well, anyways, I was for some reason very nervous about going, and I had just started to pray, like, God, I need you. And He gave me a word through song, and it was rest. And through the trip, we were positioned in such grace throughout that trip. Like Tom said, from start to finish, the CarePoint directors, the people who picked us up, the organization of all of it, and then just the way that they set everything up allowed each person in our group to really walk out their gifts. And that was one of the most beautiful parts about it, was to see each person shining a light in the way they were created and how God desired to utilize them in that moment. It was beautiful to stand back and watch my husband love the kids, to stand back and watch my girls love these children, tell them that Jesus loves them, shine with opportunities to pray over the children, and even watch my girls give testimony later. It was the very last day of our mission work, and we were invited to go to a church service, and they asked for 2 people to give testimony. And Jacob was kind of doing the leadership of our group, and he said, all right, I want to see who feels led, who feels like the Lord is calling them to do this. And my Nora, who's 13, and Anley, who's 18, both just 19. It's a good thing I have him. So, the details. They said, we don't want to do this, but we know that God's asking us to. And from the very beginning, Anley didn't want to go. She was feeling like she couldn't go because her relationship with God, she felt like wasn't in a thriving place. And throughout her giving of herself, she was blessed and overcame some major lies that she had been believing. And she got up there and she gave testimony, and it was beautiful and life-changing. And my Nora, who's 13, she had started out the trip being overcome with fear. And when she got up there, she basically gave her testimony, and it was turned in such a way that the whole audience was receiving how to overcome fear. So that you don't go because you want to get something. You go because you want to give Jesus. You want to give love. You want to give light, hope. That was what we were dealing. It was hope. And you could see wherever we walked, the wake that we left behind us was good and seed and fruit bearing. And I remembered us all, we'd have worship night, like we'd sing at the end of the night together and just pray over the time and declare what took place on that night or on that day, declare what took place, knowing that we were changing the world. And it felt good. Jesus said it's more blessed to give than receive, and it's true. And in Psalm 133, it says that unity commands a blessing. And we got to see that. And so I'm really thankful for everything that we got to witness and be a part of. And if there's any encouragement that we could give to you, if you ever had a desire to do missions, go. God will make the way. If you put the desire in your heart, He will provide the way. He did for us, and He'll do that for you. And the other thing is, we come back and you realize what you're able to do undistracted, on purpose, isn't impossible to do at home, because we can live our life on mission wherever our 2 feet are taking us, day to day, minute by minute. So live on mission.